ask Miss Pierce to say a prayer for us and Mr. Ed to lead us in the pledge.
Please join me as we pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, for your many, many blessings, for your watch care over us. We pray for our military, wherever they may be today, Father, that you would keep your hand of protection on them. Be with our city commissioners, give them wisdom, guidance, and ask that you would be with them in all decisions they make. We thank you for our community and what it means to each of us. For these things we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Put to the flag.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, we will call the April 18th meeting of the City Commission to order. Thank you all for coming. And the first item is consent agenda, which is regular minutes of April the 4th.
Most to approve.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Hoffman to approve those. There's second. Second by Commissioner Langston. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 3-0. All righty, we're down to Mr. Josh on our engineering projects. Oh. You got it. Yeah.
Good afternoon. List off the agenda items. First is Long Avenue paving. Drainage piping is complete. Patching should be completed today. Contractor's gonna finish cutting out most of those patches. Once patching is completed, next steps will be prepping and paving all the driveway turnouts, all the turnouts into the side streets. Paving the Napa parking area and demolishing and paving Long Avenue Baptist. My notes say First Baptist. I apologize for that. Parking area. So that'll be the next steps in the paving process. Right now, something we didn't talk about before, but we did add some scope to the job, the trail, the couple of blocks of paving. We will need to do a time extension for that job, and we're to the point too of where we talked about before, where those patches need time for compaction, need cars to run over those patches and other things. So what the contractor's telling me is that from yesterday, 3 weeks is when they want to pave. So that will be the week of May 8th that they will pave the road. So that'll give 3 weeks for these remaining patches to settle. And they would like to extend to June 3rd. That would include the additional paving, the striping, which will be 14 days after the paving, and the paving of the trail and the parking area.
And the trail you're talking about at Maddox Farm.
Correct.
Okay, I follow that, but question about the milling, of course, ongoing. I guess they're almost through with that. But the areas by the manholes, which is just about every block that, you know, the machine can't mill over the top of those. What do they do about that?
Well, they took 10 tons of asphalt last night out there to make those transitions easier for the interim.
Yeah, because you're gonna have a lot of.
There's nothing that you can do is perfect because it's obviously the asphalt's gonna be taken down, so you're gonna have something sticking up, but we realize that. We talked with the contractor. They took the asphalt out there yesterday, so they've made some tapers. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna protect the object itself from just sticking up out of the road.
Another question. Last meeting, we seemed that it was last meeting that we talked about the patches and the compaction.
Mhm.
And now they want 3 more weeks of compaction.
Well, we talked at the last meeting, we said when we had the patches done, they would need 3 to 4 weeks for that traffic to settle, and now the patches are done. So that's what I'm bringing this timeline back to. We had a lot of delays in the job as far as laying the drainage pipes. We didn't get to the actual patching of the job as quick as we had initially anticipated. Utilities in the way, things to do with the drainage. So now we're to that phase where we need that traffic time on those patches.
So there's no other way to, expedite that packing with big rollers they use and those type things, Josh?
I could speak with a contractor, but I mean, they don't feel comfortable with it. They're not delaying the job. I mean, a lot of this prep work that I'm talking about in the notes, the driveway turnouts, paving of the parking areas, you know, you're gonna need up a week or two there of just them getting everything prepped to be able to pave. They've got to get all those driveway turnouts done where they can get their elevation drive before they actually bring that paving through. So there's gonna be some delay in the paving anyway. But the fear is if it doesn't get the drive time like we've talked about before, we're gonna have settling issues like we've had on Garrison Avenue in some of those areas. I'll be glad to go back to the contractor, and see if there's anything we can do to expedite that.
So once the compaction takes place and they settle, then do they actually come back and put
Yep.
more
Correct.
in there before they pay?
They'll bring it back up
They're gonna
again.
bring it back up.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody kind of understand that, don't like it, but there's not much we can do about it.
Is there any way that they can make it, easier? I mean, riding through there, because when they passed it the last time, Josh, instead of them smoothing it out, it's like they ran over it with, some type of the tractor. And when you run over those patches with the tractor, yeah, it's worse than running over, a pothole, you know? You know what I'm saying? The tractor,
But we've actually been helping them, Commissioner, to try to manage that because there were so many patches. And what happens with rain events, that's usually a little ripple. We start about little ripples. And so we try to come out and smooth those down because you're absolutely right. It's just like a big rumble strip.
yeah,
So
and, you know.
that happens.
When you're milling and patching, it's just a messy process. And I feel like from what I've observed, they're doing the best they can to try to manage that. But there's just a lot of repair work on this road.
Yeah, it's a mess. Do any school buses drive down it? Y'all go
No, we
around
go
it?
around, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's school's gonna almost be out when we get it finished.
Yeah.
That's the sad part about the whole thing. So anyway, we're ready to get that thing paved, as you know.
We are too.
And I just, please emphasize that to them, that it's been a long time and folks deserve a little, better than we've been giving them. So anyway, that's just me. Anybody else on that topic?
I don't, I'm not excited about waiting for it to pack properly, but I agree with you that we don't need another Garrison Avenue.
That's the biggest fear, is I want to deliver
Ton
a
of
quality
money at
product to
Garrison.
you guys.
It didn't last 2 years. And so I feel for the people that's eager to use it, but I think we need to stay the course and do it right. And just so we don't have another Garrison, and we have to start cutting the road up again.
All righty, next.
C&D, the striping got delayed on us again. We were promised a date by the contractor, but the new promise is it's gonna be 4/19 through 4/20. So that's Thursday and Friday of this week. And we apologize, but all we can do is ask. We can't make them get there, but we talked to them multiple times this week, and that's what they're telling us, and it should be quick. So we're expecting striping to be done.
All right, sir.
First Street, Piggott finished milling yesterday. Paving is supposed to start today. They're hoping to be finished by the end of the week with paving on that job. And again, like we had talked about with Long Avenue, striping should be about 14 days. That'll be final striping. You'll have some temporary striping, but your thermoplastic will be 14 days after completion.
Are the same people doing C&D?
Mm.
Okay.
Piggott is on First Street. That was
Right, but I mean,
contract.
they do their own striping?
No, they contract striping out. It's
That's
probably the same
why I was
outfit that
wondering.
everybody does.
The same people are doing striping?
More than likely,
Okay,
but I wouldn't know.
okay.
Beacon Hill Sewer, the FDOT and FDEP permit applications have been submitted to the respective agencies for the low pressure system, which is our other portion of this project. So we're just waiting on permit applications now and getting the bid package ready. So when we receive those, we'll be ready to go out and bid for the low pressure portion of this.
And the dry line tested, okay?
Everything's good, yes, sir.
Wow. Okay.
And as far as the lift station right now, I think that the contractor is actually waiting on the delivery date for the wet well itself, which leads us to believe that it has been constructed, but Brian cannot get a firm date yet on the delivery yet, and we're still waiting on the delivery date too for the pumps and the control panels and stuff like that, items that we knew would be long lead items. First Street water line replacement, the redesign on it is complete. John's reviewed it, he's okay with it, and we're working on the bid package. I'll have an advertisement to the city by the week's end, to put that advertised out for bid.
Sounds good. Any questions for Josh? Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. All right, next item is Mr. Cahill. You got something for us?
Nothing specific, unless you guys have questions for me.
Anybody? All right, moving right along, we got city projects on page 8. Everybody aware of those? We're down to one page and get smaller, that's a good thing.
One thing, Mayor, we did get approval for the new parking lot. We did get that approved through the St. Joe Company, so we're moving forward with the new proposed parking lot too by CVS on the corner of Langston Drive.
Okay, good deal.
Fish grinder, we still have not heard anything back on it. It was supposed to be delivered last week. I haven't heard enough.
Now, there was a delay in the enclosure, so they anticipated at the time, I haven't gotten an update, but they anticipated shipping within, end of this week or first of next. So,
Okay. All right. Any questions for old business, anybody? New business. We have, Ms. Kim Miller here, wants to talk about our community garden. We appreciate your work.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have one other copy. Is there, should anybody else? receive?
Turn it in with Charlotte if you haven't, please, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, first of all, Kim Miller, 2331 State Road 30A. I want to say congratulations and thank you to Eric Langston for your continued support for our community. There's a lot to be done in North Port St. Joe, and Saturday, the Port St. Joe Community Garden will be holding a work day. This Saturday, I don't know if you know it or not, April 22nd is Earth Day. And so we'll have volunteers there that are going to be helping with various projects that need to be completed.
What time of day is that?
It's going to be from 9 till 1, I believe, is what we publicized it as.
Okay.
And I'm asking the city's help with the issue of illegal dumping that's continued in the area. When I first took over the garden, there was an area there that, as you went alongside parallel to the fence, where somebody was backing up and they were actually dumping landscaping debris. There was landscaping cloth, mulch, just all sorts of stuff mixed in. We got that cleaned up, and it doesn't seem like, and I put some plants in that area, so it seems like that stopped that issue. The pictures that you have, that's parallel to the railroad track. So if you go down Avenue A, you turn left to go to the community garden and you turn right. It's a road that goes down in there. It's like a dirt road and it's all wooded in that area. They've been dumping there for quite a while, but it's turned into a whole nother dump site now. I mean, hot water heaters, lazy boy recliners, sofas, it's a mess. I'm asking that the city help possibly or consider putting up, or to help us clean it up in those areas. Also to put barriers, being posts and chains possibly going across those roads to omit access. Also, another consideration would be natural indigenous vegetation. So basically something that would not be irrigated, something that grows native here, like wax myrtles or something like that might be a consideration. They get pretty big and you can't drive through them once they're full grown. But that might be an idea too. It's our goal to work on the beautification of this area as we prepare for our annual Juneteenth celebration. We'd also like to thank you for your continued support for this event, and that this year promises to be better than ever, bigger and better.
Kim, remind me again now, when you turn left to go to the community garden, I know right where that is. You turn right, and that's where these pictures are. Okay.
Yeah,
who
it's like
owns
a
that?
white, it's almost like a white salt.
It's St. Joe Company, and we've asked them several times to put a gate up, put a chain up, and they've not done anything.
But I've been back there several times and it's getting worse. I think I talked to the chief about it. I mean, police cars drive through, but, it's just certain times of night or whenever they're going back there and dumping. This is ridiculous.
And at the end of Peter Street, the old road that goes to the
Yeah.
railroad tracks, it's about the same way.
That's the other one I was thinking of. You can see it going into the woods, but you can't see the end of the road, but it's, yeah.
I can make contact with St. Joe Company, see if we can get something done, but yes, they need to be gated off.
Kim, can you, email these to Jim, and so he can email it on to St. Joe, these pictures that
Yeah.
is on their property? I think maybe that, hopefully it'll get their attention, but I mean, it's definitely a code violation that needs to be addressed, and most of the time when we write them up for a violation, St. Joe Company, eventually they take care of it. So if it hasn't been written up, and it needs to be. Is this road a through road or is it dead end?
No, it goes in cul-de-sacs by the railroad track.
Okay,
Right.
so we can clean it up. I mean, we don't have to ask them. We can put posts in the ground and keep people going in there. And if they don't like it, they can come take them out. The way I look at it.
And I've also spoken with a couple residents about, having a community cleanup day or weekend, actually, is what it would probably be sometime between now and the Juneteenth celebration, and, thinking about getting permission to stage a dumpster over by the school to do just an area cleanup of some of the smaller piles of debris or trash that may be in the area. But just get it looking clean and fresh and ready for the celebration.
You're talking about a large roll-off type dumpster.
Yeah.
I think we can do that. We should do it.
And we could check on the tipping fees or if there's tipping fees involved in that.
County works with us most of the time on those type of issues.
Okay.
So,
The county should, help us out with that.
yeah, but yeah, we need to send this on to Dan Vasquez, I guess, is who you send it to, he's the land guy. This, yeah. And remind Frankie or whoever to go by and write it up.
Okay, that's it. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you, Kim. Thank you. All right, any more new business? Jim, guys, anybody? All right, John.
Mayor, not much to report on this today. You know, we did open bids last week, and as of today and yesterday, actually began Friday, we're working with the parent low bidder to value engineer those costs and some of the equipment that was, in the bid. So next meeting, I should have a better report for the board as to where we're at with it.
And that's on the,
ESAD 1 and 2.
the parts and pieces for ESAD.
That's correct.
Okay, so you don't have a handout for us for the low bidder?
No, so we opened it up and it was a lot higher than what we expected. So right now we're trying to work with a prospective low bidder and see if we can come back with some options for you.
We'll have more and better information.
Really not surprised at that, but I'm, was hoping.
I think we all were.
Yep, okay. Anything? Anybody for John? Okay, surface water. Anybody know anything about any problems out there or projects? Problems or projects?
No, sir, everything, we did have one problem that we're trying to work on out there that we found that, reference to a manhole that we're trying to work on this past week out there. We found some damage to one of the manholes, or actually it's probably three or four
Four
of
of
them.
them, actually, yes. I'm working with Matt from GCU to get price to potentially rehabilitate those four manholes.
Yeah.
But given the chemicals that are used, it's became a problem, so we have to get those repaired.
So hopefully we'll have something together for you for the next board.
Okay, and, our, water plant manager, Larry, McClamo's mother passed away, so we definitely send condolences to him. Okay, Kevin.
Just to update, we got 2 foot 3 inches of freeboard. We've got both filters up and running, so we finished that the first week, so we'll be able to pick up pace now. We've been limping along, with one of our filters while we work on the second one. So they're both up and running, so we're back up to 100% of flow right now, with the plant will push through. And, that's kind of what we've been doing, so we're on track for some more.
Filter replacement.
That's all complete.
Okay.
That's what had slowed us down, up until, we're trying to run at the same time. We got one of them done. We're trying to run on one filter, which is half throttle. So, we've been working on the other one while we're running at the same time, so we don't lose so much, that we gain on the pond. So all we're gonna have to do is just keep up the pace with what we were taking in. So now we should be able to drop the pond a little bit more.
All right, anything else? Anybody? All right, Mr. Mike, finance.
Mayor, I spoke with our FEMA rep, and he indicated that the EHP review was completed on April 11th. And I asked him, where does that leave us? He says, final review of all rules and regulations before they push it back to the state. I asked him if he could try to contact the review process and see if he could expedite it. So I spoke to him today, he said he would do that. So at least we know the environmental review is done without any objection, so that's good news.
Yeah.
So it's still moving through the process.
Good, okay.
On the COVID compliance reporting, we have an annual report due on our COVID-19 money, the $1.7 million. So it's basically, we haven't done anything on that, but we have 2 projects, $1 million for the sports complex and $786,000 for paving that we currently have in the system. And we'll file that. We're continuing to move forward, and we have until December of 2024 to obligate that money, or spend it or have it obligated by December 2024.
I'm anxious to see how our lobbyist is going to do, because I understand he's trying to help get us some money for sports complex to add to that, so.
So we'll file that report by the end of April, and we have flexibility with those funds if something does change, but we do have to start thinking about expending those monies by December of 2024.
Yeah, okay, all right. Anything else, Mike?
No, sir.
Anybody got anything? Okay, code enforcement. We moved after our conversation with the property owner, at our last meeting. I think he's here today. If you'd like to approach the commission and tell us what's going on with you, we're more than welcome, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just name for the record.
Name is James A. Patches III.
And sign.
And how you doing, Dan? Great. I do want to address the commission and the city of St. Joe real quick before we get in the issue of the house. And cleaning up working on the backyard this week, we found something that I would like to return to the city of St. Joe. It was, I guess, the banner for the old football field, or one of the school fields that says, this is St. Joe, and it's got the St. Joe Sharks on it, and says this facility is not smoking. I would like to return that to the city and to the schools, because that is their property, and I guess it came off in Dennis, but I found it in my yard while I was cleaning up. And I am working on getting the yard cleaned up. I've been trying to get the financing for the roof. I was gonna ask if there's anything temporarily I can do while I'm trying to get the financing to appease the city and the violations on it. besides what's sitting on there right now. I had talked to Mr. Rex previously before all this, when all this got started, when it was just me and Mr., not Rex, but, Mr.
Richie,
No, the code enforcement.
Richie Burkett.
Yeah, Burkett, Mr. Burkett.
Yeah.
And he said if I, can get the tarps off and cold seal the roof temporarily, that would be enough to give me some time, because the cold seal will stop the leaks. If that is still viable, I will continue down that path. And next meeting, I should have that done within the next 2 weeks.
What's the pleasure of the board? Anybody?
I mean, it's a shame to tear this house down. This house is part of St. Joe's history.
I was somewhat confused about the status of the power. Do you have power?
Yeah, I have power, we have gas, we had water until the city came and just ripped the, meter out of the ground.
So you have power through the power company?
Yes, sir.
And
St. Joe Gas.
remind me why he has no water, or why we took it out, or what?
There's several issues there, Mayor. First being, there's an old bill, I believe it was $700 something that's still owed from before. So the water was shut off initially for non-payment of the past due bills.
Okay.
And now it's went through the code enforcement on there that the house is, based on this order right now, nobody should be living in the house because it's set for demo.
Once again, we not received a sticker on the house saying the house was condemned yet. I haven't received any notice on the, I did not know the water bill was $700. Like I said, I had an ex that was moved out, and she did me wrong, and I'm trying to recover from that. Now, I will start working on the water bill. The water was turned on in my fiance's name. And if we can get water back, that would greatly improve the speed and would help clean up the yard some. I'm not happy with the condition that my yard's in. I understand that, and I've been trying to work on it. As I said, I have a medical condition with my shoulder where it's been completely reconstructed. Matter of fact, I go in the courthouse, I set off the metal detector now. They know me, I've been in there enough, they know me, they don't even bother anymore. They know my shoulder's gonna set it off.
Mr. Padgett, do you have any prospects of getting any help to make all these repairs that's required of you?
Yes, sir, I do. I'm currently working on a loan. I just got to find a co-signer. And that is what I'm working on right now.
How much time do you need to get things like, I'm not talking about fresh paint, but safely inhabitable?
Safely, really the only thing that is the issue would be the roof. Everything else is cosmetic. If we can do the temporary fix on it, it should not be long, sir. And I will have that done within the next 2 weeks. Are we meeting is there another city council meeting within the next 2 weeks?
No, well, maybe. Let me look here. Let's see, we are, yes, May 2nd.
May 2nd. May
Yes.
2nd, I will bring you photographs showing you that the roof has been completely cold sealed, taken care of, and the leaks have been stopped. I will also show you where the yard is looking better. I was just looking when the next amnesty day was. So I can get stuff that has been brought up to my house and just kind of left out. And, like I said, I'd like to get that sign back to the city of St. Joe, from Dennis. I guess is where it came from, because it looks like it was about half ripped off, and part of it looked like it may have been cut off, I'm not sure. but I found it laying down in my backyard.
But I'd like to point out one thing.
Yes, sir.
At our last meeting, you heard me read from the order of the special magistrate. And I'm gonna read it again and then correct my statement. Under line 4, it says the subject property was condemned by FEMA as a substandard property after the hurricane. And I've been told that that's not completely accurate at this time, so I would like to withdraw that statement.
Yes, sir.
It was made based on what I had in front of me. So I had to me, that meant a lot as far as my opinion on what needs to be done on this house. But now, hearing that that is probably not entirely true, I'm willing to do what we've done in the past. We had a house on Martin Luther King that there was some owner issues,
Right.
and we gave them an extension in time to bring the house up to code. And I think if we've done that before, then we should at least offer that at this time. And that house on MLK was vacant, whereas here we have people living
You're
there.
actually living in the house.
Yes, sir. The house is actually good. If we can get the water turned back on, I would like to have you gentlemen come in and look at the house. But I need to be able to properly clean the house, and it's kind of hard to properly clean a house if you don't have running water.
And don't get it twisted, it is not a disarray, but we do need to be able to mop the floors.
How long?
But I,
Jan, I think, yeah, how long did we give them on MLK?
Well, we gave the property, I believe, on MLK and Avenue A, I believe that's the property you're talking about.
Right, yeah.
And it, I think it would eventually sold, and that's why it got brought up code, and it does look better. But, I mean, you have to understand too, that we're responsible for others.
I understand, sir,
Not
and
just
I'm
your
doing my
property,
best
and
to.
It's not safe to be inhabited according to our inspectors. And,
Like I said,
it's,
sir,
it's affecting the welfare of the neighbors too. So we've got other obligations. Now, I don't have a problem with giving you a month. But I mean, you've had a lot of time since the first, action that was taken by code, and nothing was done.
yes, sir,
And so that's, if we have a reasonable expectation of you, fixing this house up, so it meets all the violations that are discussed, then we're good. Otherwise, I'm not willing to go anymore
yes, sir.
than a month. And I'll draw the line as far as I'm concerned is, we're sympathetic to the situation, but we want to see a little give and take, which means,
Yes, sir, you want to
need
see
to
some
show
on
us
my end, and like I said, sir,
and what have you done in the last 2 weeks?
I have tried to, acquire funds for the roof. I've been trying to work on, the yard. Right now, we're trimming up, we're getting a tree that fell, that I didn't know was half dead, but it fell over on my property. Nobody else's property was affected. We're getting that cut up and, cleaned up out the backyard right now is part of it. I gotta go load stuff beside the road today. Limbs and stuff I gotta bring around to the front. We've been cutting off the tree and trying to take care of that. Been trying to do work at the house. I do Uber, so I work nights and afternoons. And I pretty much go in for 12 hours at a time.
But what's this about FEMA, the standards of the property, what was incomplete about that?
What we have is FEMA done an assessment after Hurricane Michael. They came in and assessed property around town. what you have is, you have an assessment of property, some from 10% all the way to 100%. Substantial damage report, the one that we keep up with, that substantially damaged says that, you've got the house has either been torn down or you gotta show that it can be repaired as 50%. This one was on the FEMA list, but it was at 45%, so it's not in the substantial damage,
You
just a
said it
very
was
gray area.
50% last meeting, sir. You said it was over 51% damage last meeting.
That did not come from me, but anyways, that's on that list is 45%. We'll look at the list on it. Because the last meeting was, I told you, if you come talk to me, I would look it up. I didn't have that list with me, so I'd access it, which I looked it up when we got back. It's at 45%. So what it means, it's on the FEMA list, but at this point in time, he still has to have somebody come in and review that house regardless and say that, okay, they can pull the permits from the building department, that it's gonna be up to code, and then it has to be inspected to show that the house is now can be occupied.
So, I mean.
So basically, it shouldn't be anyone staying in the house at this moment, right? It
Based
shouldn't
on the
be.
order that we
Based
have
on
right
this.
now, based on this, no, sir. No, we have an order from the special master on there, regardless of whether you had it on that FEMA list. That's another step from FEMA on there, but you have an order from the special master, so.
Okay, one question. If the information that you say is not correct on FEMA, that it's only 45, what was Mill Magistrate's special magistrate registered on? The FEMA report that was over 51% damage, therefore it needs to be brought before Mill Magistrate and gone over again, and a private inspector, not inspecting with code enforcement, nor inspecting for us, but completely separate to actually inspect the home
Hearing
to
was
see
the
it.
time for you to do all that.
I was not here. I was not involved, nor did Mr. Paget know anything
All right,
about it.
That's not.
I think that the best situation, the best outcome in my mind for the neighbors, the ones that we hear from, the ones that have a negative impact of the way the house is now, the activity that's been going on in the backyard, fires, generators, all those.
We have not had fires.
I'm just telling you what I've heard.
I understand.
So, the best scenario would be that the house is remodeled, the house survives, and it makes a nice house and a good neighbor.
I'm doing.
That's the best outcome. The only way that's gonna happen is if some major work is done on the house immediately. And I'm just telling you for where I'm at.
I understand, sir.
Those things have to happen, because if I was a neighbor and I had a house that was taking months and months and months to get to where it should be, that would aggravate me. I just built a house myself, moved in it 2 days ago. So I get it. It's not easy. It takes a long time. But that's the perfect scenario. So now we have to decide which route are you gonna go. The only way it's gonna happen is if the finances are secured and the work is done. So if the house continues to just, be, trees are being hauled off,
Well,
brush is being, picked up and that kind of thing, I hate to say it, but
that's only part of
It's
the
not
problem.
gonna
I
work.
understand that, sir.
yeah, so.
My commitment to fixing these issues is just not the yard. It is to the house. Now, yes, there are some cosmetic issues with the house. I don't deny that. Like I said, I was handed this house, I inherited it. The, property management company did me no favors. I'm really dealing with other people's messes and other people's errors. It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit there and point fingers and say it's their fault, this fault, anything. The responsibility has fallen to me. Now, I have been hampered due to my injury with my shoulder, but I am steadily working on it. I will show you progress within this next month that the property is coming up to code. I would request from the city manager if I could come by sometime today and pick up that FEMA report, if that's all right, sir.
But the FEMA report is not gonna change anything.
No, I understand, I just wanna know what they said is not code. I do agree we need a
It
private,
doesn't say, all it does is just gives a
But
percentage.
when, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying, when Mr. Smiley came up about the house on MLK, he came up with a plan. He had a list of step-by-step, things that he was gonna do to the house in order to improve that. And, when he came back to the meeting, a lot of those things were checked off. They let us know that he's really trying to work toward getting the home fixed. So once he started fixing it up, you know, we may have somebody come by and, luckily, he had somebody come by that wanted to, invest in it, you know, so you need to put, it has to be a plan. I understand how you feel, I feel sympathetic for you, but
if
you also
you
have to
plan,
think
we
about
will
the
draft
people
a
that's.
plan, I will personally
Yeah,
deliver it to
hold
all.
on just a minute. There's not, he's not.
We also have to think about the people that's in that area, you know, so, I'm sympathetic towards you, man, I am. But I'm also sympathetic about the neighbors that's, that wants their neighborhood to be cleaned up, you know, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
where I am at this point, you know.
Now, I will say this too. When I first got here, I tried to help a lot of people out from my own neighborhood. Try to raise them up and get them out of the situation that they were in. And I've had to run a lot of people off. My house is not a party house. We don't throw parties. Once I found out about the burn ban inside the city limits, we have no longer had any fires at the house. And if the commission needs a plan, I will draft a plan. I will show y'all, and we will go on that plan.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion, for an extension. If I don't get the motion or
I
it
believe-
doesn't pass, then,
Mayor,
nothing will change.
I believe that Mr. Langston, Commissioner Langston made the motion to go forward with the demolition. I think you need to rescind that first.
Okay, if he
And then you
wants
need
to
a
do
motion.
that, if he wants to do that, that's a procedure we'll have to take. If not, then, the order's been done and we've been working on it a long time. So that's where we are, Mr. Patton.
Well, I know this, I know that Mill Magistrate was not allowed to sign because that is a conflict of interest. He's not allowed to have anything to say with the outcome of that property.
Well, once again, that would have been something you should have
It's
brought
a
up.
conflict of interest, I have checked.
We're past that now.
Yeah, we're way past all that.
It's
Well,
in the
that
hand of these
opens
guys.
up grounds.
Right.
And like I said, want to work with the city, St. Joe. I am trying to work, doing the best I can. And I don't know what else to tell you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is
We
the first
understand
two
that.
times that I've got to speak on my behalf because I knew there was actually a county commission meeting. I knew about the hearing. I did not receive it 3 weeks after the fact, a day after the hearing, like I've received all the other notices.
All righty, we're ready to move on. So here you know, motion to withdraw, then,
It's up to
then
Mr.
the demo is set for the 24th.
Okay, gentlemen,
Thank you, sir.
if you're not gonna withdraw the motion, then, guess I'll see you City of St. Joe in court.
All righty.
You ready to make me a multi-millionaire?
Okey-doke, all righty.
We have one more, 1310.
1310,
Same thing.
there's someone here for 1310, Long Avenue.
Yeah.
Yes, please come up, state your name and, sign the register.
My name's Tim Elton.
Your name's, what's sir?
Tim Elder.
Tim Elders, okay.
I spoke with the city manager, yesterday, and he informed me there was just gonna be this meeting here, and that there had been meetings for months about 1310 Long Avenue,
Correct.
of which I knew nothing. The city slated it for demolition on the 24th. I've heard nothing about that. The only reason I knew about anything happening was I got a certified letter from a private individual here in town that wanted to buy the property. And he mentioned in his letter, the city's got your house slated for demolition on the 24th. By the way, do you want to sell your property? And here's my number and all that. And that's how I first found out about it, and that was last week. At the present juncture, I've got $3,000 worth of hurricane windows in the house ready to be installed. Those windows, when I bought them, not having bought hurricane windows before, they were 3 times as heavy as normal windows. So I need some help getting them in. I've been ill. I've got 3 cars. All 3 are not working. I had to borrow a car to come down here. I had permits. The permits expired because I couldn't get down here to put the windows in. I've got lumber to do all the outside work. I've got siding inside the house. It's got 2 coats of stain on, exterior stain on it. All that's ready to go. And I've got a roof repair kit to repair the roof. That's what's going on with me. Not really sure why I was not informed at all as to what was going on, except by a private individual. But those are my plans, to work on the house and move forward with, Jim said, your neighbors don't like the look of your house. Well, I don't like the look of my house either. That's why I bought storm windows. That's old plate glass that I could have put in cheaply a long time ago by having bought the storm windows for a different look on the whole porch and having to replace all that. It was a FEMA case from Hurricane Michael that was dismissed formally. And then another Hurricane Michael case was placed on it, which I don't understand why that was. And that's where I am at the present juncture.
Okay.
On Monday, I am due in South Carolina to take a truck driver's job with Bulldog Highway Express. I can get down here within a month and do a week's worth of work, put those windows in, put the siding on, do the roof. Already got the materials, just need the time. I've got the tools. I've got thousands of dollars worth of tools in that house.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
You said you've never received any notification whatsoever from the city about the violation?
Not about being demolished.
No, but I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
When they wrote you up, said certain things need to be fixed.
Absolutely. And I have fixed it. I put 2 windows in and they said, okay, you're done on that permit. Right, then they said that case is over. Then they started another case on Hurricane Michael damage.
Mr.
This is
Attorney,
wrong.
you wanna comment on that? What the order is not in front of us. Do you wanna read what is supposed to be done on that house? I don't see it in my packet.
I'm sure the order says it's just a violation of our code and that he should.
That's what I saw.
He should speak with the code enforcement officer to tell exactly what needs to be done.
I have called, nothing again, you guys are busy, I'm sure you get inundated with calls, but calling code enforcement is a worthless endeavor, because you're never gonna get them on the phone. I came down here, I received a thing in the mail, said here's a $183 fine for a violation. Didn't really say what the violation was, just your violation. So I came down here, I borrowed a car to come down here, walked into the city, and I said, look, I'm here to pay my fine. And she goes, well, you can't do that here in the city hall. You gotta speak to code enforcement. So another gentleman came downstairs from code enforcement, and I said, I'm here to pay the fine. He was like, don't worry about it.
It really wasn't a fine, it was assessed cost for the hearing, which were $163.80. It's just the cost of the hearing.
Well, I asked to pay that, and he was like,
But
no.
that wouldn't have stopped.
Okay.
You had to fix the house.
So I bought the materials, I borrowed the money to
But
put the
you
materials in
haven't
there.
done anything. You just bought them and it's,
No, I've got-
You need to see some work on the house.
I can do some work this week, and I've got stuff I've already done. I've already got the pieces cut to put on the outside. I've got pressure treated plywood to put on top of that. I've got the windows to put in. But I don't want to drop a $600 window, so. And I've been ill. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect
You got
you.
a permit so long ago to fix all that, but you did nothing, and then the permit expired.
I was ill.
So,
I mean, I'm not trying to make you think that I'm just dragging something out or I don't care. I mean, as long as you understand, that's my only home. I stay with someone.
You don't live there.
I intend to live there. I intend to fix that house up completely and live in that place. But, my sister, I had to take care of my dad. I had to take care of my mother. All that's for my family. I mean, you don't need my life story, but, that's the only home I own. I don't have rental properties or anything like that. So I'm taking care of that property. I'm taking care of my family's property. I'm taking care of everything at the same time. I've had ill health for the past year and just now healthy, just now, calling around. And the minute I call somebody, yes, you can definitely come to work for us. So, there's no criminal activity at the house. The kids, the neighborhood kids play in the backyard. I told them they could. They're certainly welcome there. There's been no break-ins other than there was one break-in. I made a police report. Nobody actually stole anything. They took a brick, broke the window and left the brick sitting right there on the windshield, on the windowsill.
All right, once again, the only way that we can stop this is the maker of the motion will have to make a motion to rescind his motion to demolish it. And then another motion will have to be made to give you an extension.
I would ask for at least a month.
Oh,
So having their materials on hand.
comments from Jim?
Mayor, they were both done in the same motion. Both of these houses were in the same motion for demo. So
Okay.
we have to.
Okay.
What about a motion to table? It's my understanding if there's a motion to table an existing motion, that the table motion would override with it.
Well, it was more than a motion, you guys voted on.
Okay. We want to see homes get fixed up.
Of course.
That's what we want to do, but at some point in time, we have to protect the neighborhood.
Well, I have the materials on hand. I mean, I'm down here today. I can definitely work some today and come back this week, but then Monday I've got a job and then I will have the money to then, buy more materials and do some other things that I need. I got ladders, I got everything, all that stuff is in the house. And I have no means of even getting that out. If you demolish the house now, that brand new material, all that stuff's going down. All the tools, all the windows, everything.
So the maker of motion will have to make a motion to rescind the motion to demo 1310 Long. That's specific.
Yes.
Okay.
I would ask the committee to consider, give me a week and then a month and see what happens. I was not informed of any of these proceedings at all, so.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true.
You got certified letters?
I did not get a certified letter. Who's got proof that I got a certified letter? That I signed a certified letter. They said they were gonna demo the house unless I did something else. I got a
You had, this is how it works. There's a notice of violation that goes out. The code inspector that's sent to you, the code inspector gives you a certain amount of time to fix it. If you don't fix it, he sets a hearing. That hearing, you're notified of that hearing via certified mail, and the hearing takes place.
I have come to a hearing before on those very things, and I arrived here and Mel
And then there's an order that's issued stating that what you have to do, and that was sent to you as well.
I never received any of that you were gonna break down the house. Do you have proof of that? That I received that?
Yes.
Where is it?
You know, your time to, it's up to you guys. I'm not gonna litigate this.
See, I really did not know, and I said, I get a certified, which is odd for me. I get a certified letter from a guy who said he wants to buy the house. Why would someone send you a certified letter to say they want to buy it? Why wouldn't they just call you or mail you a letter? So the whole thing is odd. And I got that last week. And Anderson tells me that there have been hearings on this for months.
Yeah.
And I haven't been here. In fact, you were surprised when somebody was here for 1310 Long Avenue. I didn't even know what was going on, even though I was working on the house in ignorance of all that.
Yeah, I understand. Ms. Langston, this, attorney told us what we need to do, so, if you do that, then there'll be a motion to obviously extend it for a certain period of time. Yeah, so,
Numbers didn't do it for the last one, so how that may play out. Like,
well, before, did I have $3,000 worth of windows in the house?
I don't know.
you had a question for me?
If we did table it, this discussion, what would that mean about the motion? You can't, the
See,
motion,
the thing is that you guys voted to go ahead with the demolitions of these homes,
right,
which is scheduled to take place on the 24th of this month,
right.
which is a week from now. You would need to rescind your motion to have the houses demoed, and then make another motion granting them an extension of time if that's what you prefer to do.
You're saying you can't help me unless you help everybody.
Well, that's not what I said. You can do it individually, or you can do them both. Just, just do for one, I mean, it kind of looks not to do them for one.
I'm ready to move forward.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's not willing to rescind the motion, so, afraid the order of the special magistrate will have to stand. And, so it is what it is, unfortunately.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Yes, sir.
Okey-dokey.
All right, what do we got next? All right, Chief, you got anything, Chief? We need
Just
body cameras or anything like that?
short update, we talked about parking ordinance, last meeting.
Yep.
I've been working diligently on that. I thought I would have something this week, but my schedule with the judge, I wanted to go through every step and talk to everyone that would be involved. Since it's kind of new to us, I just met with the judge right before the meeting and, got some pointers from him. There's some staff issues about, internally, how we're gonna have to take care of some stuff we need to work out before I get all that back to you guys. Basically internally, we need to figure out how we're gonna handle it at the city. So, it's a little bit more of a process than probably any of us anticipate to do something.
Can't just buy them and hook them up and run with them.
No, sir, cannot. So, other than that, body worn cameras will be delivered Thursday and Friday. We've been using demos up until now, but everybody had them issued either Thursday or Friday. And, patrol dash cameras should be installed the 8th and the 9th. So everything will be installed within the next couple of weeks. So hitting the ground running. That's all I have. Unless
Okay.
you guys
Anybody got
have
any questions for the chief? All right. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Pierce,
So I don't have
grants?
anything particular to update. We're constantly working grants, looking for more and head over heels in compliance.
I
If there's any
understand.
questions, I'll attempt to answer them.
Anybody got any questions on grants, page and a half? All right, that's it. Citizens be heard.
Hi,
Hello.
Christy McElroy, Woodward Avenue. I'd like to hand you guys out some photographs, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Chief,
Good
I
day.
also, this kind of involves you, so I'd like you to have a copy of this as well. see it here. This represents a series of photographs on a Tuesday evening down at the 10th Street ball fields. You can see how parking is quite chaotic, and the way that the parking is being done. One of the last photographs is of on 8th Street, them driving up the bike path in order to park what is near the basketball. I was thrilled to hear you talk about the sports complex, because as you can see by these photographs, there are safety issues with parking, and we have spent a good bit of time today just talking about safety issues for housing. It's overwhelming. People cannot use the bike path during the times that the games are on. I mean, it's so much traffic down there. One thing that I would like to remind you all of is that, you've got $1 million. And if you can get the county to step up, you would have $2 million. And when you do a lot of grants, you do matching grants, that could equate to $3 or $4 million. If you look at Callaway, their sports complex were built with FERDAP grants. So I think you can see it's popular. I think as pickleball and some of the other sports continue to grow and our population grows, it's just time to really make a meaningful advance in trying to get the sports complex done. Now, I went back because, of course, there's always a lot of rumors, and I don't really hang my hat on rumors. I like facts and evidence, which I think over time I've brought a lot of that before this board and before the county as well. And one of the rumors was that there were real estate agents that were interested in the property out at the Field of Dreams for development for housing. Mel Matchison did a great job with the deed. There is no reverter clause unless you guys do something that is for profit out at that property. Then you'd probably lose the property, which is the taxpayer and the citizens' property. So it benefits everyone. And as we grow, and there are more tennis courts that are needed, pickleball courts, ball fields, etc., and parking, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And that money can really be parlayed into more money. But what I would ask right now is that law enforcement take it seriously, what's going on down there. I saw 3 precious little boys. Their father was way back. He was on his cell phone, and they ran down 10th Street. They were all of about 4 years old, and they were kind of hiding around the cars. It's just not safe the way that this is going, and where people are parking so close as well to stop signs. You can't see around the cars when you stop at the stop signs.
I know. And you were, as you know, you were singing to the choir when you're addressing me on this issue.
I know,
I've
sir.
been on it for quite a long time, and the parking issue is a big issue, and it will get worse because we are growing that much, and people moving to town with children, and it's great activity, and it's but.
And I don't see a lot of bicycles riding down there.
No,
to go
kids
play
don't
ball.
do that anymore.
No.
No, they
Everybody's in a
mom
car.
and daddy, aunts, uncles, grandparents bring them if they need to get there. So I don't think that's an issue, might be with some folks, but it's not a reasonable problem.
Now, let me ask you one more thing, because I don't know this for certain. But my understanding and what I heard last night was the old concession stand was torn down out at the ball fields. Is that correct?
There was an old storage facility behind field number 2 that we did remove because of its
It's
correct state.
dilapidated.
Correct.
It's an unsafe structure.
It was very bad, let's say that.
Okay, there aren't any plans to, okay. Because I've talked with Clint about what, the resolution was behind the lawsuit and a development order and all of that. It's just, it shouldn't be that complicated.
It's time to move on. I
Yeah.
agree.
Thank you very
100%.
much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Mr. Gathers? How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. 118 Liberty Street, Pastor Gathers. I guess I want to piggyback. On the question, I hear you guys talking about the COVID relief money, the $1 million that was sent to the Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Question about that, because I keep hearing about the Field of Dreams. Are you guys at some point gonna restore a recreation department? Who's gonna, right now you're talking about the Field of Dreams, you're talking about all this stuff, but you don't even have a recreation department.
That's correct. And I think it's a catch-22 thing that when and if we get that built, then that's something we'll have to look at seriously. Mr. LaCour, who used to do that, has told us that numerous times, and especially if we make a huge complex, it's got pickleball and all of those things. Yeah, we will need one, but
To me,
that's way down the road.
Well, I wouldn't say way down the road, because if you're trying to get these things going on now, before Mr. McCool came to be the recreation department, I was the recreation.
I know that, yeah.
So I did it for a long time. But my thing is too, now you're talking about, doing all this stuff, you're still doing recreation, but you don't have nobody heading it. You're doing, I guess, Mr. LaCour doing the administration and recreation.
We have discussed recreation director as far as a budgetary item.
Okay, and I guess you hadn't discussed, a lot of these things, because I'm in the community and I hadn't heard anything about any of this stuff. And I have
Heard about Field of Dreams.
Well, Field of Dreams was there before you did away with the recreation department.
Okay, but so you're aware of that?
So I definitely know about that.
Okay.
But my point of it is, like I say, you got $1 million that you got from COVID release, and you're putting it in there and have any of the citizens, I hadn't heard anybody say they know anything about any of this stuff that's been, decisions have been made, but the people in the community know nothing about it.
Well,
I don't know.
We make them here, Charles, we make the decisions.
And I've been here pretty
and
regular. I've been
so-
here pretty regular. I hadn't heard you talk about it. Okay, but my point is, like I said, I think you guys need to make it more open to the community. Then you won't have people like me coming up here and saying, "Hey, guys, what's going on?" I wouldn't have to ask that if there were. And me personally have reached out to Mr. LaCour several times to be on some of these committees that's dealing with recreation. So, there again, but, yeah. So, yeah, that's a complaint that I want to get levied.
Okay, thanks, sir. All righty, anybody else? Okay, Commissioner Langston, you got anything for us?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to thank, communities for, allowing me to, serve you again as your commissioner. I know some decisions that I make, everybody don't agree with them, and you may not, like it personally, but I like to put all that aside and try to work together for the betterment of our community, whether, we're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. Let's work together to try to make our community better. Once again, I'd like to tell you thank you, and I appreciate it. I really do.
Great, very good. Anything else?
That's it,
Commissioner Hunt?
I don't have anything.
Okay, believe it or not, I've got a couple of things today. I was approached and we've talked about this, maybe a year ago, about a property on 7th Street and Woodward Avenue. We talked about, selling or not selling. I think we agreed that we didn't want to sell it. We fixed all the drainage down there and so forth. Anyway, I was approached again and just want to throw that out that it might, be something we want to talk about. If not, we'll put it to bed. We've got a 10-foot easement down there now, on that property for the drainage from, I don't know who the 10-foot easement is from, but we do. And, the gentleman that, of course, built a house next door, he'd like to have this lot to build another house, said he would give us 30-foot easement because he didn't need all of it. So I want to throw that out, let everybody mull over it, talk about it, and, we'll bring it up again. I'd like to hear, actually right now, if you guys are interested, to me, if it's an unused piece of property, we could at least get ad valorem tax revenue off of it by selling it and someone building a house. Where it sits now, if we need it, or we're gonna need it in the future, then we won't. But if it's just sitting there and not any real use even in the future, then let's talk about getting rid of it. Jim, comments on that drainage thing there?
Honestly, I would have to go back and review it. It's just been a while since I've looked at that, so I wouldn't want to comment right now until I review it.
And what we did, Mayor, if you decided to take that route, what we did before was we had a, insurance agent of record. What we did, we turned it over to them, so.
You mean a real estate agent?
Yes.
Yeah, I
So you
understand.
could do that, or you could do it as a sealed bid, you could do.
No, I mean, if we agree to sell it, everybody gonna have a chance to buy it, not just this guy.
Yeah,
But,
let John and I look at it and see if there's any catches on it.
but in that RFP, we would have to say that we want to retain X number of feet for easement. And then everybody bid on that. But anyway, so.
But yes, sir, it's true.
Okay, all right. Let's see, we had a grand opening of the marina, last Friday. Congressman Dunn was here, made some nice comments about our city and how we, progressed. And, I thought it was very, very nice and well attended. All right, that's all I've got. Anybody else? Okay. We'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank everybody for coming. John.